About the Fate series. Fate is one of those series any person who watches anime should give a chance at least once. For one, it probably has the best animation across any franchise in anime. Most animes with good animation aren't as long as Fate, and if they try to extend it, the animation gets compromised in some way. Everyone's seen clips of Fate characters fighting in at least one of those cringy AMVs, but from all the Fate animes I've seen, which is 2 or 3 plus the movies, there is no reason to not watch it, unless you don't like black people or something. So yeah, to answer the question to the title, it's easily worth it to watch Fate. The real question is, how do you actually watch the Fate anime series? When I said I watched 2 or 3 of the Fate animes, it's because I'm not really too sure on which ones I watched. I know I definitely watched all the movies, but the animes are kind of known for being confusing as shit. I know I watched Unlimited Blade Works and Fate Stay Night, but that's pretty much all I think I watched, and I'm pretty sure they're both the same thing. Or like Unlimited Blade Works is a re-adaptation of it, cause Fate Stay Night went a different route from the original or something like that, so they remade it. It was a minute since I watched any of them, and the names kinda just merged together for me. The whole story is like a fever dream. I don't remember that much of it, honestly. Shiro goes in his basement and has some sort of green power inside of him. He gets Saber and she runs the details about her being his servant and the war. After that, they go to the church, I think, and see the guy who was in Fate Zero. Then at the church he meets Rin, and they team up to fight the Berserker right after. After that, a whole bunch of other shit I don't remember happens. I don't know why, but Archer started hating Shiro because he was stealing his master or something. I really have no clue why. Shiro just had the unspoken riz. They have a duel to the death at the end, and Shiro ends up beating him by copying and pasting his swords. I don't know how, but somehow these niggas ended up in the Sahara Desert by the end of it. Then Archer starts getting sentimental after he loses and he gets DC'd. Actually, how the fuck does Archer give Shiro his arm in Heaven's Feel if he dies in a limited Blade Works? Chronologically, it's supposed to come after the movies according to Google and Reddit. That's what I mean by Fate being confusing as shit to try and watch. Even the animes are directly after each other are confusing me. This is kinda random, but it reminds me of Adventure Time a little bit. It was in my big 3 of cartoons on Cartoon Network. Adventure Time, Regular Show, and Amazing World of Gumball. Disney and Nickelodeon were alright, but Cartoon Network always had a solid lineup. I mean, at least when I watched it. I don't know what the fuck they do on it now. Some people will mention Steven Universe, but that shit was ass. That nigga Steven cannot hang with the rest of those cartoons. But yeah, yesterday I was watching a video on the full timeline of Adventure Time, and that shit went a lot deeper than what I remembered when I watched it, when it was still airing. A lot of the lore went completely over my head and I never realized. Unicorns and dogs were racist to each other, and Gunther was some god that existed before anything existed. It just made me appreciate the show a lot more. They had lots of foreshadowing and things planned beforehand. Mostly everything was done with intent, even if retarded kids like me never picked up on it. I mean, I was a kid and shit, but the lore was really complicated for the type of show it was. They had fucking Abraham Lincoln on Mars, but the difference between Adventure Time, the difference between Fate and Adventure Time, that Fate wasn't made complicated on purpose, but I know for sure that I watched those two. Both had the I'm the bone of my sword nigga. The franchise feel like it's connected but also not connected at the same time. I only watched those plus the movies because I know they're in the same order and actually follow a timeline. Apparently I was supposed to watch Fate Zero first, but I never did. It has its own story that happens before Unlimited Blade Works. Only reason I know is because I noticed the guy inside the church. They're all in the same universe, and I'm pretty sure it's the main story to Fate. The other Fates branch out into their own universes, and they have their own stories and shit. And that's how you get something like Fate Grand Order. And I'm pretty sure they're in India. And then that has its own set of animes with its own stories. And I think it's longer than the original too. That's the only other one that looks worth watching, besides the original story. I haven't watched it mostly because I don't feel like it, honestly. I feel like if I pick it up, I'll just stop halfway through and never get back to it. It's kind of an investment with how long it is. It has movies too that are probably important to the story. I like the Fate series, but I'm not a die-hard fan or anything. It's kind of in the same boat as Demon Slayer, where it has an alright story that really got elevated by the Ufotable's touch. How do you say their name? Is it Ufotable or Ufotable? Whatever their name is, I would say they're the best studio for animating fights. It's kinda subjective, but both Fate and Demon Slayer became massive because of them. Not to hate on either, but if you strip the animation away, the story isn't anything too crazy. I mean, the Fate story is kind of interesting, but looking at Demon Slayer is kind of generic. If they had average looking animation, they wouldn't be as popular as they are now. It would probably do fine, but not motivate the studio enough to make a whole fucking multi-universe story. If you enjoyed, look at some of my other content. That's all I have to say though. Peace.